The moment she walked into the cafe, the entire room went silent. People stared at her scars, some even laughed. Everyone expected her blind date to run away, but instead, he did something that shocked the whole cafe, and that one choice set off a chain of events that would tear a family apart, rebuild a broken heart, and prove what real love actually looks like. The coffee shop fell quiet the moment she walked in, the kind of silence that isn't respectful but sharp, curious, intrusive. Iris hesitated at the entrance, her scarred face catching the light in a way that made strangers stare longer than they should. Phones lifted. A few whispers rose, ugly, careless, the kind that sting even when you pretend they don't. Warren watched her from his table, frozen for a heartbeat as she tried to reach the chair with trembling fingers. He could see it in her eyes, that familiar resignation, the expectation that he would be just like everyone else. She was already bracing herself to leave, already rehearsing the polite escape. But something in him moved before fear could stop it. He stood, reached across the table, and took her damaged hand with both of his, steady and sure. And in that simple act, the room, and her fate, shifted. Warren tried convincing himself that letting Iris go was the responsible choice, the safer choice, the choice any good father would make. But the truth revealed itself slowly, painfully, through his son. Calvin stopped sleeping through the night. He came home bruised and teary after defending the woman who was no longer around to defend herself. Teachers called, concerned about fights, about a little boy who didn't know how to explain the loss he was carrying. And one night, when Warren found himself sitting beside Rachel's grave, he finally admitted what he'd been running from. He wasn't protecting Calvin at all, he was protecting his own fear. He'd walked away from the one person who made both of them feel whole, simply because loving her required courage he didn't think he had. And in that quiet cemetery, he understood the cost of choosing fear over love. When Warren finally brought Iris home to meet his mother, the evening unfolded with the kind of quiet tension that fills a room long before anyone speaks. Patricia greeted her with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes, the kind of look that measures a person before deciding their worth. Throughout dinner, her questions came wrapped in courtesy but dipped in judgment, subtle comments about Iris's appearance, her future, even her ability to have children. Iris answered with grace, though Warren could see every word land like a blow. And afterward, when his mother pulled him aside, the mask slipped. She called Iris damaged, insisted Calvin deserved better, warned that people would talk. Warren felt torn between the woman who had raised him and the woman who was teaching him how to feel alive again. But pressure has a way of squeezing even the strongest promises until they crack. Over the next 3 months, their connection grew in the quiet spaces most people overlook. They met at dawn in empty parks where the world hadn't yet learned to judge, and sometimes in out-of-the-way diners where no one cared who sat with whom. Their conversations weren't grand or dramatic. They were gentle, honest, the kind that slowly stitched two broken lives together. Warren told himself he was just taking things slow, but deep down he knew he was hiding from the eyes that might question him, from the whispers that might hurt her, from the guilt that still whispered Rachel's name. Iris never pushed. She never asked for more than he offered. Maybe she'd spent too long believing she didn't deserve more. Yet each meeting carried something fragile and precious, a growing warmth, a hesitant hope, the feeling that maybe love didn't have to look perfect to be real. As they finally sat across from each other, the noise of the world seemed to fade, leaving only two people carrying more history than their faces could ever show. Iris spoke first, her voice soft, steady, almost practiced, as if she'd explained her pain many times before. She told him about the fire, the night she pulled her niece from a collapsing hallway, the moment burning insulation clung to her skin and changed her life forever. Warren listened without looking away, and when she finished, he shared his own story, not out of sympathy, but out of recognition. He told her about Rachel, the love he lost to cancer, the long nights of hospice care, the quiet way grief reshapes a man. In that exchange, neither tried to fix the other. They simply understood, deeply, quietly, painfully, that sometimes the wounds you cannot see are the ones that ask the loudest to be heard. When Warren finally gathered the courage to face Iris again, he didn't go alone. He brought Calvin, holding a bouquet of yellow daisies the boy insisted were the happiest flowers. They waited outside the school until Iris emerged, her posture guarded, her eyes tired but steady. Calvin rushed forward first, blurting out the truth in the unfiltered way only children can, that they missed her, that Dad cried in the shower, that life felt emptier without her. Warren didn't hide from those words. He stepped forward and spoke honestly, publicly, refusing to let fear shape him anymore. He admitted he had chosen the easy path, not the right one. He promised that this time, he would fight, for her, for Calvin, for the love they had started to build. And when Iris let the fragile possibility of, yes, slip into the space between them, it felt like the world exhaled with her.